telling you. So any other questions? Those questions were fantastic. I appreciate them. Any other ones that sitting in your mind right now before we get into this stuff? The good stuff? The goods.
How much did Carol get for a parking spot?
How much do I what to what?
Did Carol get for a parking spot?
Oh, she said it was at least $500.
Wow!
I haven't asked her this week though. That's good. I saw her yesterday. I should have asked her. Wait. You weren't here yesterday. You were. I saw when you added the course because it popped up. I'm like, oh, I remember Sam. No, it's Tom. I knew it was 3 letters, and I'm pretty sure it had an M in it. That was Sam. Not such good shooting. It's at least 500. I'll ask her next time I see her. Yeah, I love that idea, by the way. I wish I had a parking spot I could auction off.
You don't?
I don't. I have a sticker that I put on my car that I never drive.
They don't give you a parking spot? Oh, how
They just
come?
give a sticker. It's like you guys. We have stickers that we then, and then people fight for their spots. It's really adorable. I had a colleague who used to drive around campus between classes. I can't get to my class on time. I'm like, really? I walk from Boyle to Grandview and I get there on time. How do you find parking? I walk. So I don't have to. She doesn't work with us anymore. I think she moved somewhere that lives in one building. So anyway. Let's get into some good stuff. Let's stop talking about this. Although I do love talking about the foundation scholarships, Tom, because it's a wonderful thing. Yes. Most stat textbooks, am I recording? Yes, we are. Most stat textbooks will come at you on the first day like today and go, here are 80 terms, and here are 12 graphs. We got them? Good. Now, we're not going to see scatter plots again until 244.
Yes.
Okay, right. We're not going to see cumulative histograms again until later in 243. Z-scores, we can hold that back till week 10. I don't like that. I don't like front-loading a bunch of information on you guys and then saying, now remember this until we get to use it again. And exactly, right? That's a silly thing to think or say. I remember sitting in a differential equations class. I used to work on the East Coast. Sitting in my colleague's differential equations class. So differential equations at COCC is the highest calculus you can get to at COCC. It's Math 256. It's the biggest number we even offer here, as far as, not that numbers mean anything. But. So you take Calc 1, 2, 3, vector, whatever the third one is.
It's vector 2.
Vector 2, thank you, vector 2, and then diff EQ. Not necessarily in that order, but differential equations is like the top of the heap. At my old school, it was similar to semesters, and I heard my colleagues say at my old school, at one point during a differential equations lecture, so this is why we teach you systems of equations back in Algebra 1. And I'm thinking to myself, why would you teach somebody something in Algebra 1 and expect them to remember it through Algebra 2, Algebra 3, pre-calc, trig, maybe a second bout of pre-calc, and then Calc 1, Calc 2, Calc 3, Vector 1, Vector 2, I'm out of fingers.
What's your vector, Victor?
Right? Why would you expect that to be remembered? I never forgot that 15 years ago because I thought that was dumb. Not my colleague was dumb, but that pedagogy was dumb. Why front-load information and expect you to keep it in your short-term memory? This is kind of why we invented computers, to keep that crap in their short-term memory.
Right.
So what I want to put in your short-term memory right now is only what you need right now, with your permission. Hopefully that'll work. Okay. Stuff that'll help you understand the Gallup polls. Stuff that'll set you up for Tuesday when we get into measures of center. Stuff like that. So the first thing I thought of that was important is just the word data, which I know that we probably have used many, many times before. What's the biggest steel egg you ever caught?
Oh, my very first one.
Which was how big?
33 inches long.
God. How big? How much did it weigh? 9, 10?
I think close to almost 15.
15 pounds.
Almost.
Data.
Well, it was almost as tall as me.
Hey,
but I
there we
put it up
go.
on the boat 'cause
That's
I'm only
awesome.
4'11" and 3/4.
But that's, oh, more data.
I know.
4'11" 3/4.
You gotta put the 3/4 in.
But I'm just saying it's data, right? It's data. It's data we care about. It's data we care about. Mileage of your cars. Mileage of your cars? What do you guys get? What do your cars get?
38.
Go for
38? 38 to 40? Good. Diesel. Just a small car with an
Small
efficient
car.
engine, 4-cylinder.
Yeah,
Good.
21.
21? Okay. 16? 19?
48.
48?
What do you drive?
Diesel?
What do you drive?
Prius.
A Prius.
Prius! Very nice.
Yeah.
Hybrid, yes.
Yeah.
Hybrid and diesel technology is coming back. We
Yeah.
got a diesel Jeep Liberty back in 05 when they released it for 2 years. And it's too heavy to be as efficient as a Prius, but it'll get upwards of 35 highway for an SUV, which is kind of unheard of for an SUV. At least in that day and age, it's getting more. They have hybrid SUVs now too, of course.
My Jeep is 18.
18, there you go. V8 Cherokee.
Yep.
Yeah, see, and we used to have one of those too, and then it died. Thank God, because I couldn't afford to drive the damn thing.
Yeah,
That's why I bike everywhere. You bike everywhere to save the environment? No, I can't afford to drive. So this is all data, right? And it's all data that you collect and sometimes analyze. I don't know how else to describe data other than that. It's stuff that you're interested in. You collect it and then you analyze it. Sometimes you do something with it. Sometimes you just collect it to collect it. But it's definitely stuff that you collect. What I want to do today is break it down to its different types. And I'm going to look at different kinds of these today. So one, we have qualitative. Qualitative is the least mathy of the data. You can do the least with it. So I also call it attribute data. So any kind of data that you collect that is non-numerical. So the first question I asked Kate, I said, Kate, what's the biggest steelhead you ever caught? And she's like, oh, it was 33 inches, about 15 pounds. That's numerical data. 33 inches, 15 pounds. But I started the question by asking, what was the biggest steelhead she ever caught? So type of fish that you could catch out of a certain river. That's not numerical data, is it? That's attribute. Rainbow trout, brook trout, steelhead, coho, whatever else is in the river at any given time. Those wouldn't be numbers. I mean, you could code them as numbers. 1 equals steelhead, 2 equals rainbow. But that doesn't change the fact that it's not a number. It's a fish, right? It's a fish. The number of fins on the fish is numerical, whether it's a hatchery or otherwise, right? Right?
Yeah,
right?
I've caught one and
I know, but that would be numerical. But the type of fish in the river would be qualitative. Type of music, for example. Type of music would be qualitative. Is it a ska band? Is it a funk band? Is it both? Is there an overlap there? That kind of thing. So there's lots of different kinds of qualitative data you'd be interested in. I asked you guys what your miles per gallon on your cars were, right? But then you began telling me Jeep. I heard Jeep. I heard hybrid. Those aren't numerical. Those are qualitative. So many, many data points that we're interested in don't even have numbers attached to them. We very often want to count those things. But the data itself is not numerical. Does that make sense? Can you guys think of another one? Any other? In your daily lives, perhaps.
What about the playlists?
Which songs are in the playlist?
Yeah, and it's funny because every time we get in the truck.
I ruined you, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and yeah, that's okay, you're a ruiner. It's the same song that plays every single time. It's not, even if we left off.
So you're counting a qualitative data point. Oh my god, I'm hearing Taylor Swift again. Oh my god, I'm hearing Taylor Swift again.
Like who downloaded this? My painter did.
Yeah, right, exactly. Or it's you two and they just gave it out for free. Right? So, good, songs on a playlist. That's qualitative. Now, they are often put in numerical order,
right?
But the song itself is not quantitative, it's qualitative. Good. Something else.
Colors.
Colors! What color is something, right? How many black shirts should we order? I'm in a band, we silkscreen our own stuff, right? What color shirts should we buy to put the logos on that people actually want to buy? Will they want a red shirt with black ink? Or will they want, no, he's like, nope. Iron Maiden's first t-shirt ever pressed was black shirt with a red shirt with a black Iron Maiden logo. This was 1979. So times have changed. How about a baseball shirt? Baseball white with black sleeves and a logo across like a baseball logo. I'm using you guys for market research right now, actually. I'm totally kidding, Rachel, go ahead.
No, you're just taking like a survey.
Exactly, basically, right? I'm doing market research. Colors, perfect. Colors, sizes, small, medium, large, extra large, right? Those kind of things. How are you going to pay? MasterCard, Visa, Discover, check, cash, money order. I'm not going to pay, I'm going to steal it. Those are all qualitative. Those are qualitative data points.
Because I'm Italian. Forget about
it. Now those are great, but they're limited in what we can do with, right? They're great, but they're limited. We can't do a lot other than count it and look at the results. More fun is numerical data. We can actually do stuff with numerical data, and this is fun. And what's cool is we can even break it down into 2 different kinds and treat it slightly differently. So quantitative, as I like to call it, some books call it numerical, which I think is even better because it is numerical. Actually, a more mathematical way to describe it is to call this numerical and to call the other one, if you're thinking like a pure mathematician, numerical and non-numerical. Wouldn't that be like the most logical way of talking? We should rename it, except nobody else would know it except us. Let's not rename it.
Perfect.
I'm pretty sure they could figure it out.
They would if we had just started this 100 years ago when the terms came up. Numerical and not. Make it binary. Whatever.
I'd be fine with that.
I would too. I think everybody else in this room would too, except I just taught you what qualitative meant. You're like, dude, 2 things, please. It's only 11 o'clock in the morning. So we got discrete, which is countable, and we got continuous, which is measurable. I see you all writing diligently, and you guys are awesome because you're awesome students. This PowerPoint will be linked for you as soon as I can today. So write as little or as much as you have to, okay? David closes his book, he's like, I'm gonna wash over me now. Totally fine. Everything I use in class will be linked into the schedule page as soon as I can after the class is over. So don't feel the need to, you're gonna see some graphics soon that are gonna be like, I can't draw that. I didn't bring my crayons today. So this will all be available to you. It's not in Blackboard, it'll be right on the schedule page. Remember what we did in class together? It'll be linked right in there. Go ahead, Dave.
I feel like the line between what could get counted and what could get measured gets a little blurry.
Good, give me an example. I love that, by the way. Give me an example. If you can think of one.
Off the top of my head, but I feel like...
How about the top of your head? How about your height?
6'4".
Right. Is it 6'4"?
Yeah.
How'd you get it? I go that. You're
measured
tall,
it.
dude. You stood in front of me and I played drums for you once, and I'm like, I get you tall. But how'd you get 6'4"?
How do I what?
How do you know you're 6'4"?
Measured it.
You measured it, right? But the thing is that you're probably not exactly 6'4", are you? You're probably around 6'4". I mean, I'm 5'11" and a half. Speaking of this, I've never hit 6 foot. But I bet you, if you measure me, as soon as I get up in the morning, I do crest 6 feet because you're tallest then and then gravity starts pulling you down, right? That's a constant little changing amount, yeah? Constant changing amount. So we call it almost like it's discrete, 6'4", 6'3", 6'2". Like we can jump from one to the other, but there's those little micro units between them that we tend to ignore sometimes. Speaking of time. A second. I'm watching the clock, Ben. A second. And we make it seem like there are discrete seconds, right? But there aren't. There's time between those seconds, aren't there? So I can see your point is well taken. But your height, that time, those are continuous because it's how you get it. You measure that. Now I do get what you're saying, David. Like we go back to like colors. Orange. What is orange? Don't worry about it. It's not quantitative. However you call color, now you can make it be quantitative to some degree. If you go to HTML, there's color codes for all the colors. If you want to make gray, it's CCC, CCC. Boom, that's gray. But how about lighter gray? Or then it's CCC, CBB maybe. Right? So there is a blurry line between some of this stuff. But some stuff is obvious. If I wanted to know how many students are in the room, discrete or continuous? How many students in the room? Discrete. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many brunettes in the room? Discrete or continuous?
How many what?
How many brunettes in the room? Right. The brunette itself is a qualitative data point. Then I can count them, right? I can count them. So it ends up being average weight of a brunette in the room.
Continuous.
Not nice.
Become
Don't ask your
average
girl's weight.
height of a brunette in the room.
Never ask your girl's weight.
I'm asking the room's average weight. That's okay. I see what you're saying. That's continuous because I have to measure it. Just ask how you get it. Did you count it or did you measure it? As long as the data point itself is a number, how you get it tells you whether it's one or the other.
So height and weight are measured?
Here's to further bone up what David's talking. I've discovered 4 things that are continuous.
Okay.
Height, weight, time. You think of the 4th one? We've mentioned those 3 already. Candace, go ahead.
I just remember going through this in chemistry.
Oh, very cool. Hey, baby, maybe. That'd be
Big
great.
thing that we did in I don't know if you know anything, but I just remember we having to go through this in chemistry because there was something that we had to do with height and weight.
Yes.
Example that he used.
Could be a correlation, even a correlational study. Height, weight, time. There's one more. You've been dealing with it for about 3 days now as we go into fall.
Temperature.
Temperature. Those 4. I can't find a 5th. There might be one out there, but if you're measuring one of those 4 things, if you're dealing with one of those 4 things, you're measuring them.
Right.
Does that kind of make sense? Yeah, everything else pretty much falls under the discrete realm. Now some people say, wait a minute, how about speed? Like
Or volume.
volume. I create them as a subset of the others. Volume is cubic length. So it's a subset of length. Speed is rate of distance, change of time, both of which are continuous. Therefore, so that makes it a little bit easier, Tom, if you can compartmentalize. Those 4 things are continuous. I can't find a 5th. So, is that fair enough? Just trying to make it simple for you. Tell me your name again.
Aaron.
Aaron. I'm going to call you Aaron. Aaron, go ahead.
Well, okay, Big Bang Theory, right? Everything's expanding. There's a 5th, like location.
Location is a change in distance.
No, but it's wait, you said height, weight, time, and temperature.
Right, but height is a subset of length in general, right? When you measure height, you're measuring the length of something.
Yeah.
So the location is just, it was here and now it's there. That's a length, that's a displacement, right?
It's continuous though, isn't it? But
Sure, but my claim is that it's just a subset of height. because they're all just measures of distance, of length.
Oh, you're just using height as like.
As an example of length, yeah. No, I'm not disagreeing with you, friend. I'm just trying to make it as simple as possible.
No, yeah, I
Fair enough? I love
thought
that
you were
reference, by the way.
specific.
No, very good reference. I love that very much.
Light,
Light, what about light?
light.
What about light?
Like your daylight, it's.
Like intensity of light,
Mhm.
which is measured how?
That's height again.
That's height again, right?
Yeah.
Like some kind of lumen measurement or a wattage measurement or something like that, which is based somehow in either height or time, a cycle on a graph. See, it all breaks down into one of those four. Everything I try to find ends up being in one of those, at least one of those four. So then I'm like, oh well, we just treat those four. Keep thinking though. I want to know. I'd love there to be a fifth. I just can't find a damn thing. Or don't think about it if you don't want to. That's okay too. As long as you know, how do you get continuous data? You measure it.
You measure it.
You measure it. As long as you know that, and the discrete stuff you count. Cool? That's the big takeaway. Excellent. You guys are awesome. Moving on. Thank you for the Big Bang